Hey everybody, what is up? Welcome to the class in session. It's Antonio. I'm super excited for you guys to see the guest that we have on today. We have Jaani from Jaani Going Places on the class in session, giving us some extra insight and some extra tips. Jaani, how are you doing today?
Perfectly. It's a beautiful July day
Yes,
here
it
in
is.
Helsinki, a little bit gray and a lot chillier than you might expect.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm in Nashville, Tennessee, so it's sunny already, and it's definitely warm. So the complete opposite of the weather
For
you're
sure.
expecting. Yeah, that's awesome. So Helsinki, Finland. So what is the temperature there? Obviously, I know you guys use Celsius, but like,
uh,
what do you normally
yeah.
expect this time of year?
Well, normally, I mean, the highest temperatures might creep up to 25 Celsius, so it's
Okay.
it's below 90 for you guys.
Yeah.
And 20 degrees is pretty much the norm, and I like it. I like it.
Nice.
I was in Southern Europe for the beginning
Mm-hmm.
of the summer, and it was definitely too hot for me. It was 90 and
Yeah.
95, and you can't even
Yeah.
play disc golf in that temperature, if you ask me.
Right. Yeah, I get that. The body definitely gets really warm. I was actually playing yesterday with a buddy that I met at a tournament a couple months ago, and yeah, I mean, right now it's been around that like 85 to 95 mark for the last couple of weeks, and it gets hot out there. Yesterday was a toasty one, and it was definitely by the end of the round. We played two rounds, and by the middle of the second one, we were both like, whew, feeling it. The discs just are gummy. Everything's sticking to your hand. You got to use tons of chalk to just try to get a clean release. And yeah, that's awesome. I actually just saw this morning um, that Kona Montgomery posted a picture. She's playing in Finland at 10:30 at night, and the sun is still up. Like, does that kind of throw you off a little bit? Like, do you ever play disc golf going into that late into the evening, or do you kind
Uh,
of
uh,
keep a strict schedule?
Absolutely. I mean, the midsummer is the best time of the year. You can basically play all night long. Helsinki is
Wow.
too south for that. I mean, you have
Okay.
maybe a couple of hours of like a twilight. I mean, you can
Mhm.
still see the disc,
Mhm.
but it's dim. If you go
Yeah.
to the north, you can't even distinguish day from the night. So
Wow.
yeah, I mean they have tournaments that keep on going for
That is
24
so
hours.
cool.
If you so yeah.
That is cool. That is definitely something that I hope to experience and travel over to Finland one day. You know, my wife and I have talked about like all the travel we want to do. I'm like, we have to go to the Scandinavian countries, to Sweden, to Finland and Norway. And yes, we're gonna play disc golf, but it's just so beautiful there as well. And I love to be able to be over there one day and play some disc golf. So that is
Yeah, for
awesome.
sure.
Very
Yeah, I mean
cool.
you have 1,000 courses around here
I
to
know,
choose
it's
from. So
insane. It's insane. It's like, oh yeah, well, I mean, the United States has a lot of courses, and it does. But when you look at the size of the United States and the size of these other countries, and just how many courses are in these other countries, it is crazy. Like, I mean, these countries have had at this point the disc golf bug for what feels like decades. I mean, it's been really cool to watch, and I've been watching a lot of European coverage the last few months with MTG Media. And I remember watching them last year too. And I just really appreciate their coverage. And I've really enjoyed watching and looking at all these European courses, especially like uh, in Sweden and Norway and all that they've been playing, and the Finnish Open. It's just been really cool. Those courses are beautiful. And it'd be a pleasure to be able to play them one day.
yeah, as we speak, they are playing in Norway at the Krukol course, which is, I
Yeah,
guess, the best rated course in the
that's
world,
what I've heard.
and
Yeah.
it really looks beautiful. I've never got to play there, but I've seen the coverage, and
Yeah.
just the scenery there. It's
Yeah.
breathtaking, really.
It
It
really
and
is.
it levels up your game also because you can
Hmm.
appreciate the effort the course designers have made. So it
Yeah.
just feels you feel so privileged to be able to
Yeah.
play those kind of courses.
Oh,
And
for
I don't
sure.
know, that maybe show in your scores too.
Yeah. Yeah. That would be really cool. oh, you're on a beautiful course, you're automatically going to score better. That'd be
Yeah,
great.
yeah, yeah.
So how
Yeah,
far
you
is
feel better. You feel better
yeah,
playing when
of
you're in
course.
such
Of
surroundings.
course.
Yeah.
How far is that course from you, the Krukel course?
I mean, it's in Norway, so
Oh,
it'll
okay. That's
take
right. You're in
yeah.
Finland,
So
yeah.
it'll take a ferry ride and maybe a four
Oh,
five
okay.
hour drive. So, but
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
people do
Yeah.
that. People do
Yeah.
that. People go to Sweden to play all the time, just like a
Mhm.
disc golf vacation. Also to Estonia, they have
Yeah.
Estonia is like a 2 hour ferry ride from Helsinki,
Okay.
and people go there all the time. Uh, I hate to say this, but I think Estonians have a lot better courses than Finland.
Oh, wow.
So, so I
Yeah, I
mean, come
feel
to
like I've
Finland and
been
play,
seeing
but
yeah,
yeah, but if you have extra
Estonia.
time, go to Estonia too.
Yeah. I've been noticing a lot more Estonian players, especially on the FPO side, like coming up on coverage and that kind of thing. And so I think that's really cool. And I think obviously we've seen, the disc golf community there over the last couple of years, like really rally and support someone like Kristen Tatar and Silver Lop. And we're starting to see more of that because of their success. Like it's really encouraging a lot of other players to start really giving disc golf a shot, like not just to play, but as like a career choice and those kinds of things. And so that's been really, really cool to see. So speaking of disc golf, Jaani, I'm interested. How did you get into disc golf and how long have you been playing?
Yeah, so I'm 38 now, and I was
Okay.
14 when I first got
Wow.
into disc golf. Yeah,
That's
it was a
awesome.
church camp, like a church
Mm-hmm.
summer camp, a confirmation camp. Basically, everybody in Finland goes to one type or another of like a summer camp. And I was 14, and there was this kind of a janitor dude. He seemed
Mm-hmm.
really old at the time, but I think he was like 20. So, but he was a very enthusiastic ultimate player. So he had ultimate discs there. We played ultimate, but he also introduced me to disc golf. He had like I think they were Omega Super Soft discs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and they had this like the Finnish Championships 2000 print on them.
Oh, that's
I
cool.
remember that. Yeah, it's a vivid picture I have in mind. And I think that was the first time I even heard about the sport.
Mm-hmm.
And that summer, we played a lot of Ultimate, basically, like on our summer holidays, almost every day. And with the church, the people there, we got to know. And after the Ultimate sessions, we normally went to play a round of disc golf. I really didn't like that much, like
Mm-hmm.
because ultimate that's a really sporty, fast paced, you get to run, you get
Mm-hmm.
sweaty and everything, and disc golf was you stand and throw and walk. And on top of that, my first throw I remember on a disc golf course, it used to be my home course, basically it still is. I threw, I think it was Champion Eagle, and I
Mm-hmm.
hit the window of a local music school. So that was my first throw ever. The window
Wow.
didn't break. It was a hardened glass, so no harm done. But that was my first ever, and it was done sidearm. So
Nice.
yeah, so that was my first throw. I didn't like the sport really, but
Yeah. Yeah,
after a few
that's
months, that I
yeah.
was hooked. So
Yeah.
the
It's
ultimate
funny.
was gone.
Yeah, it's funny how many people I find that have similar experiences because I was the same way. I played Ultimate a couple times growing up, mainly at camp, like a church camp. And then when I went to college, we had like club teams. And so I was playing Ultimate 2 to 3 times a week for 4 years. And I loved it. Obviously, it keeps us in great shape. It's a lot of fun. You have the team, all that kind of stuff. And I remember 1 or 2 times, this is in Tampa, Florida, 1 or 2 times I get invited to go play disc golf. I'm like, yeah, sure. I mean, like, how hard could it be? Like, it'll be fun. I remember holding a disc. I'm like, this feels so weird in the hand. Like, I'm used to holding a Frisbee. And I play around. Like, I don't even remember my scores, even if we kept score. I just remember it being hard. I remember not enjoying it nearly as much. I'm like, this is dumb. I'm just gonna keep playing Ultimate. And then I graduate college and I go back home to New Jersey, and I can't find like close Ultimate leagues. Like all the Ultimate leagues are 45 to 60 minutes away, and it's like, well, they play on a Wednesday night, so it's like, oh, so after work I gotta drive an hour, to go. I'm like, this isn't gonna work out. So I end up not playing Ultimate. Then I moved to Texas, um, to be closer to my girlfriend, who is now my wife, and one of her friends that she grew up with played disc golf, and she knew that I was starting to show some interest, because I was like, okay, I can't play Ultimate, but hey, there's this disc golf course here, like maybe I can play. And sure enough, my buddy Matt, who I've now been friends with for 6 years, taught me how to play. And yeah, once I started like getting the hang of it, playing a couple of times, I was like, oh yeah, this is fun. This is fun. And I don't need a team to play. I don't need to find 10 other people to play. I can go by myself. And it's just funny, sort of like, so many people, no matter where they grew up, seem to have this sort of pathway from ultimate frisbee to disc golf, and something like happens where it just kind of like clicks for them. They start either playing more disc golf and enjoying it, or for some reason there's a restriction. Like for me, it was like I couldn't find enough people or a league to play ultimate, so I went to the solo sport side of things. And so I've just really enjoyed that, and it's been funny to notice just how many people have a similar story. So it's hilarious to me that you said the same thing.
Yeah, for sure. And once to get to know how the discs fly, they fly so much farther than the ultimate disc. So yeah, of course, because that's the thing I enjoyed most, to throw the frisbee, what they call the first pull in the ultimate sport.
Yep, the pull.
I was that guy, so
Yeah.
I always wanted to do that. So throwing a putter made it so much easier, and of course then drivers, mid ranges. So of course.
And it's like, when playing ultimate, the field is maybe well, I know in America it's like basically a soccer or football field length, so somewhere around 100 yards. So I think maybe somewhere around like 93 meters, over in Europe. But I mean, a lot of these guys can probably throw it further, especially at the top tier collegiate pro level. But I mean, they're never given that opportunity, because in the game, it's always that full length on the pole or shorter. And so in disc golf, you have so many more opportunities to throw it even further if you can. And yeah, I mean, the average person can't throw an ultimate frisbee over 300 feet. And yet we're seeing just how many people can throw over 300 feet now. It's way more than it used to be decades ago. And so that's definitely true. Like, there is something to the design and aerodynamics of the disc and all that stuff. So
yeah, and you love to see the disc soar in the air.
Oh yeah,
I mean, that's the thing we most enjoy. Downhill, mile long. Yeah, and that's the thing.
Oh, absolutely. So Jaani, so I thank you so much for sharing that. So you've been playing for 24 years, give or take. I'm sure there were windows in there where you weren't playing nearly as much. So what got you to start creating content as someone who has played for a while? Is that a fairly new thing? Is it you've been doing it for a while, but it just never gained traction like it did about 2-3 years ago?
Well, I consider myself a form nerd, and I've always been one. I wrote lengthy posts on various disc golf forums for as long as I can remember, really.
Okay.
And at one point, maybe 5 or so years ago, I just felt like, why should I write these things if I can show them on camera too? So it was just a practical decision. I didn't aim for being a YouTuber or an influencer. So I just started filming short videos and talking like I would do in written form.
Right.
And all of a sudden, I just saw people liking me, commenting, sharing, and I got many thousand subscribers on YouTube. And at first, my YouTube channel was just my name, like Jaani Länsiö. That was just my name. And at some point, I started like branding myself as DG Spin Doctor, and it just got off for some reason, and I have still yet to grasp like why. But I guess I also got lucky because I started creating content at the peak of, let's say, the pandemic bubble, or just before the pandemic golfers started playing. So there was a lot of demand on how should we throw? How is this working? How why is my body feeling like this? And how should I feel? So people got really interested in my work, and I think I was one of the first ones in Finland making content, that kind of content. I mean, there were some and really popular ones too, but for some reason, I think my provocative style at that time also hit the nerve in the right way. So first I was making content in Finnish.
Okay, I was just about to ask.
Yeah, and a couple of years ago I felt like I'm hitting the peak of my subscriber count. So I had like 12,000 subscribers back then. And it was 2.5 years ago when I switched to English. And now I have on YouTube 27,000, I guess. So
that's great.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm somewhere there. I mean, Overthrow is somewhere here, and the rest of us are somewhere here. So
yeah, for sure. For sure. Is creating content like your full-time job, or is it part-time job, or do you just do it when you have time on the side?
I mean, I considered it as a hobby that gives me some pocket money on the side. I mean, I love it. I love making videos. I like interacting with people. With, I mean, most like 99.9% of comments are positive, and they ask good questions too, which I also want to answer on my future videos. So there's an indefinite demand, I guess, for a new video. Even if I felt like after first 2 months or so, I felt like, okay, what is there to say anymore? And after 5 years, I still have this feeling that I don't really have even started yet. So there's a lot to cover on Disc Golf Backhand. And so far it feels good. It feels good. But also I want to make different kind of videos in the future.
Yeah, I understand. So, I feel like that is a really good natural place for us to end, because as you just said, there's a lot to talk about in the backhand. So everybody, we are going to head to the main show here, and we are going to break down the backhand. We have a lot of things that we're going to touch on, and I am super excited to hear Jaani's input on a lot of these things. If you haven't already, started following him, whether it's on Instagram or YouTube, definitely go ahead and check him out on Instagram. It's Jaani Going Places, and all the links will be in the video descriptions and the podcast description, so you can check him out there as well. So, all right, guys, that is all we have for the class in session. We'll see you in the main show.